So we must do two things, two great things together to encompass that enormous new view that lies before us, but to encompass it within the framework of science, to see it within the whole categorical framework of science, and to see that these two are not separate, but that they are wedded. The bigness of the idea, the newness of the idea, the greatness of it is one with the structure of science, the structure of being itself.
All right. So we really had reached that point of science and divine science, and did you see how we made an immediate descent in consciousness? Something in consciousness wanted to understand that plan of love, that design of love, and what is implicate in it. And so I really we departed from the high tone of divine science, really that field, that realm where love and love's idea are coexistent, are going on at once, at the same time, and we began to draw the conclusions to try to explain what it means that love in its own realm is a plan, is a design, and what is going on in a plan. And in order to do that, we took the concession of looking into our universe to see how love is showing itself forth in respect, really, not to that infinitely closed system of divine science, but to an open, evolving system. So just to remind you that the things that we were looking at had to do with what is going on with an evolving system, specifically an evolving system of consciousness, and how love has a plan that adapts itself to every individual consciousness as well as universal and collective consciousness, and that in that plan, be it individualized, be it collective, be it universal, that love has means and methods and divine and spiritual mechanisms to bring that plan to fulfillment. It transforms itself into a plan, it adapts itself into a plan that is adapted to your individual experience of spiritual growth, spiritual birth, spiritual evolution. And those means and methods and mechanisms are beautiful, beautiful illustrations of how love will not allow there not to be success. Well, that was an interesting statement. That it will not allow that we fail to reach the goal. We cannot fail to reach the goal because of the way love has designed that plan and set within it its own attractors all along the way. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that we would see that really all of this that we are talking about in order to enhance our own understanding of what love is and what love's plan is when it translates itself to us, we can see that everything at every further level is inherent in that level of divine science itself. It's inherent in that one divine plan and divine design of the relationship between love and love's own infinite idea. So that as we go to the further and further levels, we really are just drawing the conclusions of the divine fact of the oneness of love and love's infinite idea. Does that make sense? Is that all right? I wanted to bring it back together into one picture and to remind you that a divine science could be depicted cybernetically as an infinitely closed system. Divine science is the one infinite closed system within which are all open systems, All open systems are included within, implicate within the one great closed system of divine science, that city four square, as the Bible would call it. So the moment that we look further, are attracted further to the further levels, we touch those levels that have to do with open systems. And ideas are open systems. Ideas are that which are calculated, you see, calculated as individual instances of that divine infinite calculus, calculating individual ideas. And we know that it's absolute Christian science that governs the relationship between principle and its individual ideas. So it governs the relationship between mind and mind's ideas, spirit and spirit's ideas, soul and soul's ideas. So life, truth, love, and their ideas. This relationship of creator to individual creation as idea is what absolute Christian science is specifically concerned with. So we now will see that within that infinite closedness of divine science is the infinite openness of the infinitude of individual ideas, the individual ideas of love. And love has a specific relationship to every individual idea. It is, as the word would show us, a relationship of motherhood, that love mothers each idea. It is one with its individual idea of itself. Then the Christ would come in. You see, there's so much that is, so much in that sense of love mothering each idea, and you have to think about what a mother is and what a mother does. And so this one term of mothering and motherhood takes in a whole universe in itself as far as its meaning is concerned. So we will just stay with the bigness of these ideas as we go across through the calculus in absolute Christian science now and see what love is in relationship to every idea. It's one with every idea of love. It really makes every idea an idea of love. And as the Christ, then we see that love is inexhaustible adaptability. Isn't that beautiful? Inexhaustible adaptability. You can recall that term, adaptation, adapting. This is love, certainly. The infinite adaptations and bestowals of love the textbook speaks about. We also know from that law of truth, life, and love that appears at exactly this point of intersection in the whole design, that the love factor in that law of truth, life, and love is all about the adaptability of love. That when truth, the whole of truth, is specifying itself, it is at first individualizing itself as life. So it takes the whole of truth and begins to individualize it, to specify it. But the wholeness of the meaning of that specification, that coming to the point of a specific truth, is that it must partake of the nature of love. In fact, that means that any specific truth, to be specific, must be perfectly adapted by love. So each idea is a specific truth, and to each idea love gives that quality, that factuality, that it is an adaptation of love. It is adapted by love. And here we would see that love is inexhaustible, a terrific sense of love, and it in a way reminds us of that self-sufficiency, you see, that infinite self-sufficiency of love from the standpoint of science itself, which is in divine science never without its full manifestation, its complete objectification. Now we see that this becomes a law of inexhaustible adaptability, that every idea will be an idea, we could even say, an idea that is self-sufficient, an idea that is partaking of the whole quality and character of love, but in an absolutely unique way, absolutely specific way. And that love is inexhaustible in this office. Don't you think of a true mother as being inexhaustible? She just... Dorothy says, yes. She just goes on and on and on. She's superabundant. There's no end to the ability of love. You see, it's something more, it's a bigger sense of than life gives, to the abundance, to the ability to give forth and impart and so forth. It's a superabundant sense of always being the mother, constantly caring, that love is ever the mother in the realm of its idea, and that it ever mothers its ideas. There's never a break in that relationship of love to love's ideas. And I love to see that what love is to its ideas, it gives to its ideas. That love gives the same quality to its ideas. And in which case we could go back and see that love will give to every idea the quality of motherhood, of mothering. That every idea mothers every other idea. We can do the same thing if we go back to life, where we took the fathering and the fatherhood of life fathering each idea, that every idea would be stamped with the same essential nature, the threefold essential nature of the fatherhood, sonship, motherhood. And so each idea would itself partake of the nature of fathering. And that's what we see really in that law of that we call, that Max Kappeler called the family law on the level of Christian Science. We see how that's reflected in our nature then, that we would father each other, that we would mother each other, that we would sonship each other. Out of order there, really mothering comes as the last point. But where on earth could that come from if it didn't come from above? And if it didn't come from this fact that life is going to give to each idea the full quality and nature of fatherhood, and that truth gives to every idea the full quality of being able to be a son, to claim every other idea, to affirm every other idea in being, as well as to assert and claim its own identity as an idea. That's a very quick, just a hint toward something that we could take a great deal of time to go into. But I love that sense that love is giving that quality of motherhood to every idea. So let's look now at Christianity within that field of absolute Christian Science, where we're asking about the relationship of love to love's ideas. How does love as Christianity depict that? It says that every idea is an inexhaustible richness of love, expresses the inexhaustible richness of love. Every idea In other words, every adaptation of love is an adaptation showing forth the inexhaustible riches of love. You see that coming out of that superabundance of love in science itself, then, on the level of divine science, we have that divine completeness, that divine totality, that all-embracing sense, all-encompassing, universal sense of love, never, ever able to lose sight of its own idea of itself and its loveliness. So you feel it's that totality, that all-embracedness of the superabundance. And when that superabundance is expressed in relationship to ideas, individual ideas, we see that every idea is itself a richness, the richness of love. That every idea is partaking of the fulfillment of love. A fulfillment of love. It is the consummation of love. And in turn, every idea then has the quality, the office of being able to consummate, to fulfill. What good would an idea be if it couldn't bring with it a sense of the fulfillment of love, a sense of the consummation of love? So I think that we have a touch of Christianity there. Again, this is very delicate because what we are doing with the calculus in our orientation together is to take the whole field of ideas that we have for a certain level of consciousness in respect to the synonymous term and its ideas, and to order those, to structure those according to the calculus. So we have some kind of an input at the point of the word, some kind of a statement, a declaration, a revelation of what love is in relationship to its ideas, and then we have sense of love expressing that, adapting that, and then the outcome at the point of Christianity of what that looks like. But this all is being expressed in terms of drawing from the available field of ideas that we have and showing their place value in the structure of the calculus. So we come to science. We're again seeing the translation, the self-transforming of that level of divine science as it transforms itself from level to level, now to the level of absolute Christian science. And how does science in that calculus perceive and understand the relationship between love and love's ideas? What does love give to every idea from the standpoint of science? Science says love gives to each idea its divine purpose. It purposes each idea. It gives each idea its intention, its aim, its goal. It gives it goal orientation. It's the goal causality. You see, these are terms that are higher. They don't actually all appear in the textbook as we have them here. You don't find goal causality in the textbook. You don't find goal orientation. I've taken the liberty to step over the bounds and to begin to bring in some of the terminology of our present day development, evolution, that which is going on and is being recognized universally, and which we have no right to exclude. We have no right to exclude. But if we include it, we must make it very clear that these are not terms that are strictly from the textbook, but they are, so to say, crossing over into that further field. And if we had taken that further field as a whole, which we did one year, I think it was 96, when we took all of that terminology and saw the place values of those terms according to the seven and according to the levels and so forth. In other words, structuring that new terminology according to the design of being. So I just need to be clear about that. I couldn't leave it out, I'm sorry. It makes the whole thing leap into life, into a living sense, really, of what love is doing and how love is in relationship to every idea, when we can see that love gives to every idea this goal orientation. And as I recall, I may have put those 4 indentions into the calculus, into some feeling of the calculus, that goal orientation means that there is at first a goal causality, that everything is being set from the beginning, and that there is a goal built into the cause of every idea. Goal causality gives me a touch of the word. So each idea is an instance of a goal being set. Each idea expresses a goal-directedness, touch of the Christ, you see. Each idea is goal-attracted, a little touch of Christianity, and that it is teleological. It has that plan. Yes, it is one with the plan of love. It is itself a plan. Each idea is a design of love, a plan of love. Each idea shows us the individual execution of the plan, how the plan is being executed individually by each idea. Isn't that beautiful?